We were not supposed to see that, but they're asking what day. They said, oh, here's the day, and then I like, oh, don't show that to me.
Ladies and gentlemen at home and via Zoom, it's hard to welcome you to Hillside Memorial Park given these circumstances. Services for Naomi Abigail Hecht will be officiated today by Rabbi Zach Shapiro.
Randy, Laurie, it's almost impossible to stand here and look at you in the eye. If I were there and you were here, I would be looking to my rabbi, my tradition, for truth, for inspiration, for reason. And I'll be honest, I feel empty right now. I wish so much that we didn't have to be here. It's just wrong. And for those who are joining on YouTube and on Zoom, it's like cruelty upon cruelty that we can't all be here together to comfort one another in this darkness. It's just wrong. And I'm so sorry. Any funeral during COVID has been difficult. But at a time when you are saying goodbye to your daughter, it's a difficulty upon a difficulty. And I don't want to sugarcoat that. There's so much that we are mourning right now. To give a framework, I'm going to offer some liturgy, some poetry, and some words. And then we're going to invite both Laurie and Randy to share some words as well. We acknowledge that these words barely touch our emotions. And it's going to take a while for the depths of those emotions to unfold. But we have to begin here and now. I'm going to begin with the 121st Psalm. It's in the prayer book on pages 11 and 12. Esa enai el heharim me'ayin yavo ezri. Esa enai el heharim me'ayin yavo ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai Ose shamayim va'aretz. Ezri me'im Adonai Ose shamayim va'aretz. I lift up my eyes unto the mountains. What is the source of my help? I lift up my eyes unto the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. The great poet Chaim Bialik, a modern Israeli poet, wrote a poem called Acharei Moti. It means after my death. It's a melancholy poem. And it was written about a man, but I believe it was also written about Naomi. After my death, say this when you mourn for me. There was a man, and look, he is no more. He died before his time. The music of his life suddenly stopped. A pity. There was another song in him. Now it is lost forever. A great pity. He had a violin, a living, speaking soul, to which he uttered the secrets of his heart, making all that strings vibrate save one that he kept inviolate. Back and forth, his supple fingers danced. One string alone remained entranced, still unheard. A pity. All its life that string quivered, silently shook, yearned for its song, its mate, as a heart saddens before its fate. Despite delay, it waited daily, mutely beseeching its savior lover, who lingered, loitered, tarried ever, and did not come. Oh, great is the pain. There was a man, and look, he is no more. The music of his life suddenly stopped. There was another song in him. Now it is lost forever. Well, there's certainly indeed many songs in Naomi that wanted to sing and sing and sing. We're now realizing here together that we need to play those songs ourselves. We need to take the lessons that she gave us in her 27 and a half years, almost 28 years, that we have to take those lessons and allow them to become the music of our souls as well. I so wish in all the pages of the Talmud that I could find a teaching, a piece of wisdom, a perspective that could offer exactly the right words at a time like this. It's so wrong. It's so wrong that we're here and that Naomi is there. I haven't found that teaching from Judaism yet, and I'm still searching. That teaching to find an answer to this very difficult question. And while there may be lessons out there, in my gut, I still feel that Naomi should be here teaching and tutoring and inspiring others the way she did so beautifully. Naomi should be radiating kindness to the world. She should be healing the world. She should be giving hugs to us. She should be, she should be, she should be. There is so much potential. So much potential in this soul. That said, her accomplishments were tremendous. In less than 28 years, she served the underserved, listened to those without a voice, and touched those who so often felt untouchable. Naomi's soul print left an incredible impression on us. and we are better because our lives crossed with hers. What a gift. What a gift. I remember how incredible she was as an Akiba day camp counselor. The way she interacted with her peers, and the way children really trusted her. She was just awesome. She was the epitome of what our Akiba spirit stood for. Why? Because her spirit just soared with light, and because she learned so much from her incredible and loving parents, who doted love on her each and every day. Naomi's kindness, that unbound kindness, is what moved us the most. She had this uncanny way of understanding us. Her listening heart was a safe harbor for so many. The world needs more people like that. Cancer is so cruel. It robbed Naomi and all of us of so much. Dear Lucas, we are hugging you so hard right now. Naomi was so lucky to have met you, and you will forever share in the legacy that she is leaving. Her voice will always be part of your future. Thank you for being a blessing to her. To Grandpa Norman, one should never lose a granddaughter, never. You loved her so. May that love guide you each and every moment. And to Matthew and Laurie and Randy, this beautiful bud in your family will always be a treasure. Please know that we are here with you on this difficult journey. I don't know how you feel. I can't begin to imagine it. Laurie, when you shared aloud your daughter's obituary with me, my heart sank. For a mother to write and read her daughter's obituary, I can't begin to imagine it. But I also watched on our call how you, Laurie, and you, Randy, held and kissed each other. Continue to hold each other in this darkness, because you will need each other's strength to lean upon. We are all here and we embrace you. And all of us will try to know when to speak when we need to, and we'll try to know when to step back. And we're going to make mistakes. We know it, because there's no real good guidebook on how to do this the right way. But just know that we're all going to try. And for those who are here via Zoom and via YouTube, if ever you want the family to know that you're thinking of them but you don't know what to say, call them up or send them an email and just let them know I'm thinking about you, even though I don't know what to say. That's our job right now. I think of the great matriarch from our Bible, Naomi, mother-in-law of Ruth. Naomi faced so much loss in her life. Her husband and both of her sons died early in the story. Imagine that. Her husband and her sons. Yes, Naomi knew the bitterness of grief in the Bible. But through her grief, she still had two important messages. And these are the messages that your daughter offers us. 1, keep your hearts open. And 2, help others in need. That's what Naomi taught us in the Bible. And that's what your Naomi taught us through life. And that's what will be our lifeline in the days and weeks and months ahead of us. Keep your hearts open and help others in need. In our darkest moments, these will be our lifesavers. Amen and amen. Laurie and Randy, you each prepared words to share. When you're ready, I encourage, I don't know when one could ever be ready. I apologize for that. We encourage you to come forward and share those words with all of us and know that we are here with you.
Thank you, Rabbi. It's so incredibly strange standing here for so many reasons. The situation, the idea of being at Naomi's funeral. But I don't know if I can, I'll do the best that I can do. Thank you to anyone who's actually coming in by YouTube. We appreciate that. And thank you, Rabbi, for everything that you've done for us. I'm just going to read this because there's no other way I can get through it. And I'll do the best that I can to get through it. At first, I didn't know if I could speak today. Without my wonderful, wonderful daughter, I am so empty. I just feel empty. But she deserves to be talked about again and again, and not just as a role model, but about who she was. Naomi, my love. Facing the wrong direction. Naomi, my love. From the moment I first saw you in the delivery room, I noticed that your eyes were bright and intelligent. And this continued to be that way as you grew into the most remarkable adult. So smart, but never showing off. Humble, but always self-confident. You made close friends easily during every period of your too short life. When you were sick, your friends and family sent many messages of support, most starting with how naturally and genuinely kind you were, and then immediately following with how quietly intelligent. Your mother and I would marvel to each other just how lucky we were to have you as our daughter, how you allowed and wanted us to be a constant part of your sometimes too busy life. I always said that your mother was the nicest person that I'd ever met, but you may have had her beat. You had such wide-ranging interests, and we would frequently talk and text about just about anything. And now, every day, I find myself running across something that I think that you would be interested in, and I realize that I will never again be able to talk or laugh with you again. It's been a daily blessing to watch you grow up into such an amazing woman. There were never any bad ages. We enjoyed every baseball, softball, soccer, and basketball game. Even long after you stopped playing, you still wanted to throw a softball with your dad in front of the house. We brought home your mitt. I'm so lucky that you would want to go what you called ski boarding. Me skiing, you snowboarding almost every year, and somehow it changed over time from my skiing behind you to make certain that you were safe to you watching out for your father and making certain he got down the run okay. Naomi, you were always concerned about those in need of help. You translated that into action by being politically active and even helping organize a walkout in high school in support of a beloved teacher. This continued in college with your teaching, working with an organization that answers calls from distraught students, and majoring in sociology as well as biology. Naomi, despite no pressure from your parents, truly no pressure from your parents, you decided that medicine was how you could help the most people. You were always a much better student than your parents, organized and focused with clear goals. I remember you taking me to a medical school class at Jefferson and effortlessly explaining to me the intricacies of acid-base regulation, something which, despite multiple attempts, I have never really gotten. As you went into the clinics, you were so happy, so excited, your face beamed to wear your white coat and see and care for patients. I keep thinking about what an amazing doctor you would have been with all your joy in helping others. This was encapsulated when, in a thoughtful post after your internal medicine clerkship, you wrote, "Gentleness is not a character flaw, but a strength." Now this is to everyone else I love. Naomi put up with so much, but never complained about her terrible luck. Like her mother, she was so physically tough. She did not let her illness define her, but wanted to keep going with the life that she wanted in medicine and with her family and fiancé. Family was always so important to Naomi, whether her immediate family, which you would call our family, or her large extended family, which she loved to see. She loved so much and appreciated and looked out for her big brother Matthew, and was the only person in the world who could call him Matt. Her family rallied to support us as things became more difficult. But before this, as a family, we would always repeat the line from the classic movie Lilo and Stitch, that Ohana means family, and family means nobody gets left behind or forgotten. And you will never be left behind or forgotten. Family also includes her wonderful fiancé, Lucas Van Gorder. I'm so happy she was able to meet him and love and be loved. He was truly her bashert, her soulmate. Watching the two of them together was seeing true love. I cannot say enough about his love for her and how he stayed with Naomi from the beginning, making it possible for her to continue to push forward during her illness, and he continued to be with her in Virginia for many months until the very end. Finally, separately, I'd like to make a plea for universal BRCA testing, particularly for Jews of European or Ashkenazi descent who have a 1 in 40 chance of having a mutation like Naomi did that predisposes to breast cancer, though almost never at such a young age. As with many tests, it wasn't the cost of running the test that was so high, but the price was high, keeping people from being tested. Now finally, the price of testing in 2021 is quite low. Bupkis, as her grandpa Herb would have said. So relying on family history is only so helpful. So if you are at risk, please get tested. Naomi would want that. So last, goodbye, my love. LB, Nay, Smarty Pants. You will be with us forever. Thank you for listening. Oh, her brother, who loved her so much, wanted me to read something that he had written. He was not feeling well and couldn't make it. And he read this to her when she was still alive, but he wanted to read it again. So I'm speaking for Matthew. Naomi, you were the best sister I could have ever asked for. I'll always remember you and the fun times we had together. Even though you're no longer here, you will always be part of my life. I love that you were so kind to everyone, and I love how you always thought about everyone and that thought how everyone and everything needs love. You are a very confident and genuine person, and I've always looked up to you for that. I love that family always meant a lot to you, as did fairness. You would defend me from bullies and you always stood up for me. I may have complained about it, but I actually had fun at your sports games watching you. I also loved always going on family trips with you and Mom and Dad. You always be in my thoughts and my heart, and that's from Matthew, Naomi. Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi.
I had been, can you hear me?
Not really.
Thanks, man. Not as tall as Randy. I had been quite reluctant to write these words because I was thinking, how could I possibly do justice in honoring someone who is so very, very wonderful, who is so very, very good? Over the years, Randy and I always asked each other, how did we get so lucky to have a daughter like Naomi?
The stream is hearing you, but just there you go.
And also, how did Matthew get so lucky to have a sister like Naomi? As well as how did Naomi get to be so lucky to have a brother like Matthew? How can I possibly summarize her life and who she was in a mere few paragraphs? What I realize is I can't. So please keep in mind that no words could ever really do her justice. To do her justice, you simply had to experience her. Before I begin talking about Naomi, I wanted to say a few words about her fiancé, Lucas Van Gorder. Naomi always said, Lucas is the best, and we agree. His devotion to Naomi during this challenging time was unwavering. He was always there, sharing and laughing, and also taking such excellent care of her, such as preparing certain foods for her each night for her special diet. Lucas gave Naomi a lifetime of the life she always wanted to live, compressed into a few short but very happy years. To be with someone she loved so deeply, and who loved her so deeply in return. Being together, even doing the most mundane activity, brought so much joy to each of them. They were perfect together. Randy and I cannot begin to express our gratitude to Lucas for all that he gave Naomi. He is truly exceptional. Excuse me. A few years ago, Naomi and I went shopping, and we went to a store called Urban Home, where she wanted to look for a couple of things for her apartment in Philly. She found a small yellow ceramic owl on display that she liked, but I had noticed that one of its ears was partially chipped off, and I said, why don't we see if they maybe have another one that's not broken? But Naomi told me that she wanted that one, so we bought it. You see, Naomi didn't buy into the common belief that it's broken, so why would you want it? Instead, she turned that notion on its head and thought, because it's broken, I want it even more. That was so typical of her, to quietly challenge the norm. And challenging the norm for the good was one of the many ways Naomi made the world just a little bit better. The owl had been in her apartment ever since. Now, I know that this little yellow owl is an object, it's a thing. But this also represents how Naomi viewed people, caring for all. That no matter how broken or imperfect they were, they too deserved kindness. Naomi would buy a meal for a homeless person on the streets of Philadelphia and talk to them with respect. As a camp counselor, as the rabbi had mentioned, she would seek out campers who were troubled or who were struggling to fit in, and she worked with them. She told me she wanted to give them extra time and attention, and according to what their parents had to say in letters that they wrote to her, she truly did help them. And sometimes it was the many seemingly small things that she would do throughout the day that made people's lives just a little bit better. The sincerity in her voice was so evident when she would thank the Lyft driver who was having a bad day and wish him a better rest of the day, and he would seem genuinely touched by her concern. And in keeping with her philosophy of caring for those who needed extra love and attention, when Naomi and Lucas decided to get a dog, they of course adopted a rescue dog, their adorable Lily pup. Naomi was so incredibly perceptive. She was intellectually perceptive, so intelligent, yet she was so humble. She never bragged. She had an ability to so quickly absorb and analyze information, and then impart that information to others in such an understandable way. She was able to bring this talent to her role as teaching assistant, or TA, for organic and inorganic chemistry classes in college, and to her informal role as really good explainer in medical school. She could immediately find the hole in an argument, a quality which would have put any top-notch attorney to shame. I have to say that when she was a child, this ability to find the hole in an argument did not serve me well when I would try unsuccessfully to provide a reason as to why her play date was over and we needed to go home. But as an adult, she would apply her intellectual perceptiveness to a higher purpose. As one of her medical school classmates observed, she always carried soft strength in the way she raised a point to broaden someone's mindset. Not only was Naomi intellectually perceptive, she was also so perceptive about people and their feelings. And once again, she possessed this ability at such a young age, far beyond her years. Parents are supposed to teach their children, but with Naomi, I felt that she was the teacher and I was the student. She would be the one to point out to me, who was often clueless, that someone needed reassurance or some extra attention or a smile or a hug. As a classmate wrote, "I want to thank you for your strength, for your softness, for your willingness to speak up for those who need you to." She'd find wrong and make it right. Naomi was so gentle. In an Instagram post, she so beautifully wrote, "Today is my last day of Jefferson internal medicine for my third-year rotation. Most importantly, thank you, patients, for letting me into your lives and allowing me to have this learning experience. I am so grateful. It is a privilege I do not take lightly. Also, thank you, Lucas and Coffee, for helping me get through this month. An attending went with me today to observe me interact with a patient, and while we were talking afterward, I said a little bit about how I approach patient interactions. He said, 'Gentleness is not a character flaw, it's a strength.' I almost cry thinking about it. Thank you, Dr. Edwards. I needed to hear that. As such a gentle soul, Naomi was so easy to be with. She was such a pleasure to be with, even when doing nothing in particular. And she was so much fun to be with. One of my favorite things was going shopping with her. She always danced in the dressing room because, well, why wouldn't you dance in the dressing room? And she was so easy to talk to. It was such a pleasure to talk to her. And I always learned so much from her, from our everyday conversations, from really important topics such as social injustice, to really minor ones like how to make Trader Joe's black bean pasta less gummy. I love talking to her about anything and everything, and I think that those who knew her felt the same way. When someone spoke to her, she really listened. It was no surprise that she was selected to be a part of the anonymous listening service at Wesleyan University. As a friend of hers said, "When we talk, I always know that you hear me." A classmate said that Naomi was a person who exudes light. To another friend, she was such a ray of sunshine in high school. A hometown friend wrote that she always brought such light and grace wherever she went. She turned darkness into light. A medical school classmate said that she was always smiling and incredibly friendly and kind. A high school classmate remembers her fabulous smile like it was yesterday. And another friend said that her smile has a way of making someone feel at home. When she smiled, you couldn't help but smile back. She always made me smile so bright. She always made us smile so bright. When Naomi was little, I would sing a song to her. The words went like this. Who's my beautiful baby doll? Who's my beautiful baby doll? Who's my beautiful baby doll? Naomi, Naomi, Naomi girl. Then one day, when she was about 3.5 or 4, she said, Mama, my song doesn't have any love in it. She didn't mean that it didn't have the word love in it. What she meant was that it didn't have the feeling of love in it. I thought about it and realized that she, being so incredibly perceptive, was absolutely right. So I told her, you know, you're absolutely right. Let me see what I can do about that. So for the next several weeks, I pondered what to write, how to infuse love into her song in a meaningful and accurate way. Finally, one day, I think I had it. I sang her the new verse that I had added, which was really very short and simple, and it goes like this. Who finds wrong and makes it right? Who turns darkness into light? Who always makes me smile so bright? Naomi, Naomi, Naomi girl. My Naomi, Naomi, Naomi girl. There was silence for a few moments. Then she turned to me, smiled, and said, I like it. I never stopped singing that song to her. I find that those simple words about her were as true at the age of 4 as they were at the age of 14, as they were at the age of 24 and beyond. If Naomi had lived what should have been a long life, she would have graced those who already knew her and those who would have gotten to know her with so many special moments, so many valuable lessons, and so much joy that would have been, but now will never be, and it breaks my heart. I am so sorry for the world, for what it has lost. She would have been such a wonderful doctor. Her dean wrote this, I mean this when I say that you were meant to be a doctor. Kind, passionate, genuine, gentle. What all physicians should strive to be. The world needs more doctors like you, really needs more people like you. I haven't figured out yet how to live, knowing that she is not in this world living her life. That I won't be talking to her every day as we did. That we won't be texting each other goodnight every night as we did. I suppose I have to learn to take comfort in knowing that, as I have said before, every moment of every day she will be with me. Every moment of every day, her smile, her laugh, her intelligence, her brilliance, her compassion, her thoughtfulness, her loving and gentle ways will fill my consciousness. She was beautiful in every way and brought so much light to those around her. A classmate wrote, she has made an impact on so many lives with her gentle heart and thoughtful presence. But it isn't just that Naomi, during such a short life, had such a great impact on the lives of so many. It is that, as a friend wrote, I promise I will try to channel her qualities as best I can. To channel those qualities. If we do not just remember Naomi's wonderful qualities, but if we channel those qualities to our own interactions with others, to our own goals, to our own lives, then I believe that she will truly live on in all of us. Thank you for all attending.
we are all so touched by such pure thoughts and words, by you, Laurie, by you, Randy, and by Matthew as well. I'm going to ask for the two of you and for all of us to just close our eyes for a moment and remember her sweet voice and how it spoke to our souls as we pray silently. בידו אף כדרוכי ועת אישן ועירה ואם רוחי גביעתי אדוני לי ולא אירא ואם רוחי גביעתי Adonai li velo irha. My soul I give to you, my spirit in your care. Guard me here, I shall not fear. Safely in your hand, hold me here. I shall not fear, safely in your hand. Be'ado af kidruchi, ve'et ishan ve'aira, ve'im ruchi geviati, Adonai li ve'lo ira. ואם רוחי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא אירא. Randy, Laurie, I'm going to ask you to rise. Those at home, if you're able to please rise as well. Our memorial prayer is on page 18. אל מלא רחמים, שוכן במרומים, המצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה, עם קדושים וטהרים כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים, את נשמת טובה שושנה, בדיו שמואל ולאה מרים, שלחה לעולמה, בעל הרחמים, יסתירהו בסתר כנפיו לעולמים, ויצרור ביצרור החיים את נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה ותנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר אמן. O compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant complete rest in your sheltering presence to Naomi Abigail Hecht, who has entered eternity. O Master of motherly love, sheltered by your divine wings, may she be bound up in the bond of eternal life. The eternal God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. Amen. Randy and Laurie, you're wearing a ribbon, a Kriya ribbon. I'm going to ask that you share these words, and then we'll tear them. Repeat after me, please. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Dayan ha'emet. That means blessed is God, eternal Spirit of the universe, who judges with truth. Make a tear to the bottom of the ribbon and tear it toward the pin. for the next 7 days during this period of Shiva, this first 7-day period. Friends, in just a moment we're going to offer the final Kaddish Yatom, the mourner's Kaddish. There are traditionally 7 categories of people that offer the Kaddish. You would offer it for your son, your daughter, your brother, your sister, your mother, your father, and your sibling. This first category is one that we should never have to face, to say it for your child. But we say it, and we're here, and we embrace one another with life and with love. For those who are watching from afar who didn't have an opportunity, when we place a body for burial, there's a tradition of covering the body with a layer of Mother Earth. If you had a shovel, we would encourage you to do an odd number of shovels. Because you're not here, we encourage you to plant a flower, to do something with the earth, but to place earth and soil on deep roots, and to prepare the world anew once again. We are on page 31. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'yamad divrach charutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael bagalau v'yizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam u'amei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal Shemei T'Kodesha B'rechu Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi Shlama Rabbah min Shemaya v'chayim Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu yaseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who causes peace to be known in the high heavens help us understand that by reaching out to one another the way Naomi did, we create peace on earth. For all Israel and for all humanity, we say, Amen. Before we conclude our service, one final word. Randy, over these past months, you've reached out many times to do 2 things. You wanted to update me on how Naomi was faring. But in every call, you did something else. You would always ask about my family, my parents and my children, and Laurie, you would do the same. That's very kind. Your daughter learned her kindness from somewhere. And so we salute you and we embrace you. Thank you. Normal circumstances, I would give you such a huge hug, and it pains me not to. But thank you.
Thank you so much. I know Randy thanked you before he spoke, but I didn't thank you. I meant to. I'm so sorry.
Oh. Don't need to think about it. I know where your feelings and your heart are, and I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry for this profound loss.